Hey everyone, Glenn Ammonium's back. Hope you all had a very good weekend. I spent my weekend playing Stormblood, at least grinding as much as I can before I make my move. I'm still in that process of moving out. I guess I shouldn't be waiting till the last minute, but you know how it is, early access, yada yada. Well, anyway, this is part two of if college is right for me. I left off yesterday talking about trade schools and choosing majors that fit right, and also location. I wanted to go back and clarify something about trade jobs. My last video, part one, I said something about trade jobs having a higher mortality rate. Now, I wasn't trying to say that you have a high chance of dying. You just have a higher chance than sitting at a desk job. Like, okay, let's say electrician, you might have shocked yourself. Like some electricians work on the power lines. You know, that could be pretty fatal. Not all electricians do it. Some don't have to work on power lines. There are other avenues. I know electricians who repair commercial appliances. I've actually done a little electrical repair, mostly part replacement. But there are people that do electrical repair on other stuff. As for a plumber, well, it depends on where you're working at. Like if you're dealing with a lot of sewage, usually OSHA will regulates that stuff pretty hard. Like they're not going to let anybody just go in and deal with human waste, or dealing with human waste without protection. If the plumber's going to change pipes and work on toilets without wearing safety, that's on them. Don't ever, ever, ever work on that kind of. If you're a plumber, don't ever work on that kind of stuff without any protection. I don't care. I don't care if your supervisor is going to be a jerk about it. Screw him. Quit. Find another job. But yeah, plumbers. From what I understand, I've ventured into some forums online. You're at risk for maybe hepatitis. If you're dealing with sewage, you're at a risk of a lot of bacteria. It's because it's sewage. This isn't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where you're just gonna casually walk into a knee deep watery sewage. No, it doesn't work like that. Sewers are nasty, disgusting. Or if you're working in a kitchen, you got all that mold and all that crap backed up, and you got to deal with the smell. If you're queasing the stomach, I wouldn't recommend a plumber if you have a sensitive stomach. Let's move on. Welders. Welders, you have to work in extremely high temperatures, probably in closed areas, and you risk having some burns and the smell. I don't know what long-term effects are with welders. I don't know. There are some welders who make good. I know the welders in the oil industry were, taking home some pretty fat paychecks. And welding is considerably a pretty easy trade to just pick up by yourself, but it is a craft that you have to get good at after a while. Like you can't just weld metal together and call yourself a welder. I'm sure there's a lot of it's a craft. It really is a craft. It's sort of like its own art form. HVAC. If you're afraid of heights, or you don't like carrying something on a steep pitch roof because some architects are retarded and they are more concerned with their design and rather than the efficiency. Like the place I work at, the administrator was one of those. I don't like ugly things on the roof. And where does air conditioners go? They go on the roof. Air conditioners need to be accessible. So instead, they created this pit where all the air conditioners are, and you can't see them because there's basically like this 8-foot wall surrounding them. The problem is those trap heat, especially in Arizona, especially when the temperatures, like right now, the highest it's been today was 109, 110 today. So I'd imagine there are some ACs that were breaking down up there because it's trapping all that heat. Heat's not supposed to be trapped in the pit. Heat's supposed to rise, supposedly. But when you got the sun beating down literally hours upon hours upon hours, and I was told by AC people that this was a bad design, but whoever built the place or whoever told the guy how to build the place just probably didn't want to see ugly gray or pink boxes on the roof. The other building, though, we hardly have any AC problems except for usual wear and tear. In fact, any commercial building you see with an AC on top that's exposed, that's usually, from what I understand, that's usually the correct way of how to install an AC. If it's concealed in any way, like if it's just hidden because I don't know, the person in charge was a bit of a, I wouldn't say neat freak, more like shallow. Yeah, anyway, when a commercial building doesn't have visible air conditioners, it usually means it's probably in an area where it's going to get a lot of heat trapped and it's going to cause a lot of problems down the road. Um, but also, there's a lot of heavy lifting. I've done my share of lifting stuff in the ladder, and if you're running conduit, or you're running duct work, you got to go in those attics, especially when the weather gets really freaking hot. Or it's better to do it when it gets really nice and cool, because going in an attic in the middle of summer sucks. It sucks. And if you're claustrophobic, or and all the installation is gonna have dust. It's gonna go in your nose. It's gonna make you sneeze. Wear a mask. But if it's a good paying job, it's worth it's worth a little cold once in a while. Um, if I wasn't such a I'm not going to say the word, but if I wasn't such a coward back in my 20s, I probably would have gave HVAC or electrician a much fair chance to. But I was more concerned of, oh, I got to go to school so I can work that comfortable desk job, work a 9 to 5. And that's another thing I did mention about trade jobs is sometimes it's not a 9 to 5. It might be a 6 to 2, or it might be a 6 to 4, 6 to 5. You might have to work weekends. You won't work nights because you can't really see what you're doing at night. There might be some places that need round the clock construction, but um, I don't know. I know you don't work holidays because if some construction when you're working for the city, you do not work holidays. They're not going to make it's like a garbage man. They're going to make a garbage man work holidays. They're just going to have to deal with the extra bit of garbage a day sooner or a day later. They'll get over it. And actually, that's another thing I kind of left out. Being a garbage man, I actually found out the people that drive the garbage trucks around my town make upwards to $20 an hour. That's I got to find a way to confirm this, but I was actually really surprised. It was one of those other jobs that were looked down on by our higher society. Um, you don't need a college degree for that. I know, it's like, well, I don't want to be a garbage man when I grow up. Well, you're not going to be a doctor. You're not going to be a lawyer. I mean, unless you are a lawyer, then good for you. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Hand. Um, I was watching a video from Engineer Truth. Now I know, say what you want about the guy. He's a kid. He's still got some life experience he needs to go through. But his videos do help a lot of people out, and I'll give him credit for that. Um, he actually made a video about like engineers, lawyers, doctors, and they're talking about you know um, a lot of them wish that they would have done it differently. They would have just taken a trade job. It probably would have pissed mom and dad off, because here's the thing about parents: they're selfish. Okay, they might say, "Oh, well, I want you to go to school and do better than me. I want you to do better than me." But what they're not really telling you is, "I want you to make more money so you can take care of me. I don't want to go in a nursing home." This is sad. I don't want to go in a nursing home, so you have to get the great paying job. But what's the point of having a great paying job if you're miserable, if you're stressed out? I can't imagine what it's like to be a doctor. The hours suck. You're liable to. I mean, doctors have to get insurance because of the sue happy Americans we got in this country. One little mistake, even if it wasn't even the doctor's fault, they want to sue the doctor. They want to sue the hospital and the doctor because they'll know they get a nice big fat payout, or a settlement. And it's like with a lawyer. Like I'd imagine, I don't know what it be like to be a lawyer and you have to defend some of the most unscrupulous people on the planet. I mean, there are some people who have some real cases, but then you have the lawyers that defend those who even committed a crime but don't want to do the time. I would hate to be that lawyer. I would hate to be that lawyer. I'd imagine, and there's a lot of people studied law the last few years, so a law degree, it doesn't mean much. Like most people have to open their practice, like they got to open their own practice, and a lot of lawyers these days, like they want money up front. Some lawyers say if we win this case, then they get a cut, but not. It doesn't work that way anymore. Like there are lawyers who want money up front. I had to pay a lawyer to deal with a little debt situation myself. It was more like, well, I'm not going to go into detail, but let's just say someone used my name without my permission. And since I wasn't aware of it because I was dumb and young and stupid, it went all the way to collections. And well, anyway, that's ancient history. But yeah, like I said, I, lawyers have to shell all that money through school, and they are struggling to find work. Some of them are. I mean, there's only so many city jobs you can do, and then of course you can be a lawyer for the private sector. But then there's like I guess like a moral thing. If you're a moral person, I wouldn't be a lawyer. I think I got into nursing in a great detail. Um, you do nursing therapists require way too much school. Well, nursing can be bachelor's, but like physical therapists, if you want to be a therapy aide, that's 4 years. But I swear, it's like they purposely want to tack on. Oh, well, you need a master's degree now. Oh, you need a master's and or a PhD. I don't even know which is. You PhD really? Director of nursing now requires a PhD. And then, so you got these people shelling out like I don't even know how much PhD in nursing would cost. And then you got to keep up with that training. And the worst part is about being a nurse. Like, if the company deems you unfit or unworthy or you mess up, they'll take your license away. Imagine if you get your license taken away after all that money spent in school, but then somebody decides to say, "Well, I'm going to revoke your license." It might be maybe it was your fault. Maybe you had some bad bedside manner, or maybe you gave somebody the wrong pills and he might have been in worse shape, or maybe the director of nursing's a big fat prick, and they decide to just revoke your license. Well, now you can't be a nurse anymore. Doesn't matter all the debt that you accumulated in school. If you had debt, find another line of work. And you know who I really feel sorry for are the ones who wanted to have kids, especially the women. Like it's really the workforce is really hard on women that want to have kids. You become a stay-at-home mom, but then here's what happens: you lose that valuable work experience. Even if you had work experience in the field prior to having kids, that's why some women either put off having kids till later, which is a good idea, or they just don't have kids altogether because they do have kids, but they still work because they have relatives that can help take care of the kids. But the ones who have kids like early on, just like right after school or a couple years into the job, then they decide, well, it's easier to be a stay-at-home mom than it is to be a nurse working 48 to 60 hours a week. And I can't blame them. I like to be home too, but I don't have that luxury. Um, but they even with a college degree, like if you take time off of work to do something else with your life and then you want to come back, they're going to look at your work experience or the lack thereof instead of that piece of paper. And they're going to be like, well, what have you been doing these past few years? Now, I'm not saying all companies are cut from the same mold, but you got to be very careful because some of them, like some companies want to hire fresh out of school. And here's a trick why they want to hire people fresh out of school. Because especially it's more effective in the bigger cities. Like bigger cities, they'll hire people fresh out of college, but they'll burn them out. They want to burn them out. They'll get experience, but they'll also be burned out. See, my mistake when I got my degree is I live in Arizona. There wasn't a lot of web developer jobs. There wasn't a lot of graphic design jobs. There sure as heck wasn't any social media managers, stuff like that. I mean, there's those are starting to crop up, and it's one of those hidden gems within the community that's not oversaturated. Because like right now, programming is becoming oversaturated with junior developers. I mean, you see coding boot camps all over the place, all this free stuff you get online. So now anybody who puts the time into patience and all the commitment to become a programmer now, they're basically filling. All these junior developers are all over the market, and it's getting harder and harder to find work. Senior programmers won't have any problem though, because I mean, if you have 5 to 10 years experience, they're gonna choose the senior dudes over somebody who's fresh out of college, unless you go to like a boot camp. See, and what sucks when I went to school, boot camps wasn't a thing. Boot camp wasn't a thing. And with my situation is I couldn't be there with all the hopeful recruiters that want to recruit me, and that's kind of you're at the mercy of recruiters when you're fresh out of school. Most, like employers will just send recruiters. You're not gonna see a bunch of suit and ties. You're just gonna see a bunch of young, eager recruiters who probably don't give a crap about your background. Recruiters have a quota to fill, so they'll just throw job applications at you and expect one to stick. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, and it sucks. Now, don't mind me. I'm just checking on my portable air conditioner. I bought a portable air conditioner. There's no way in heck I was going to stick out with this heat. It's probably a good 80 something degrees in my apartment right now. It's a good thing I'm moving out. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. I apologize for the distraction. I'm still new with this whole blogging thing. What I'd like to do, let's see. So anyway, I want to try to conclude it. I'm just going to keep it a two-part series on this until I decide if I want to do a part 3 later down the line, because there's so many subjects I want to cover. But in short, and thank you for sticking with this, by the way. In short, if a job requires a college degree, make sure it is a profession that you will stick with. And I know it's easy to say yes when you're eager, when you're young, you're eager. When we're all young in our teens and early teens, early 20s, we all have this mentality that what we're doing right now is going to be forever. Like, who we date now is who we're going to marry. We're going to be with the rest of our lives. It's not always going to work that way. Our pets are going to be with us forever. Not going to work that way. Your friends that you're with, that you're hanging around with, we're going to be friends forever. It doesn't always work that way. So with a career, you might go into school for this, and then you realize after you graduate, wow, I hate it. You have to really do a lot of soul searching. And here's the thing. If you don't think you're ready to go to college, don't worry about it. That's fine. And I'm not going to lie to you. You're probably going to get a lot of pressure, especially if you're 18, 19. God knows that, but people looked at me with a side eye when I was 20 years old mopping floors in a nursing home, thinking about what should I major in. And people are like, that guy's going to be a loser. But people are snobs. People are idiots. Don't let somebody judge you because you decide, well, maybe I don't want to go to college. Because look at it this way. 5 years from now, you won't have crippling debt. I don't even know if you're really going to struggle that much because people think, people assume without a college degree, you're going to be working low-wage, mediocre jobs. Well, there are people with college degrees flooding the low-wage, mediocre jobs at the moment. So the only difference is they have debt. They have debt and a broken dream. Mr. Mrs. don't have a college degree. You're going to have a lot more time. I mean, really decide what you want to be like. If you want to be a nurse, or look into finding ways to get certification. Like if you want to get an IT is not a good market to get into right now. If you really want to get an IT, I would just go for certification and look for current certification. Don't. Some people might say get your A plus, Net plus. Don't fall into that trap because then you're going to have to get these certs, and you're going to have to get these certs, and then you're going to have to get these certifications, and you're almost going to be spending as much as somebody who's going to a 4-year degree anyway. Don't fall into that trap. If you're going to be in the medical profession, you're not going to have a choice. You're going to have to get your dues, and you're probably going to have to wipe a few butts as a CNA if you're going to become a nurse. And I know there's some nurses like, no, that's not true. Some nurses might be able to get out of that, but I know the college we have here, you have to get credit hours as a certified nursing assistant. That means you're going to have to get your hands literally dirty. Yeah, I'm just giving you food for thought. You're not going to be Miss Prissy. You're not going to be Mr. and Mrs. Prissy Clean wearing a white suit, poking needles. You're going to be also shoving catheters in there. You're going to be passing out pills to residents who probably want to beat you up because their minds are slowly turning to mush, some of them, or they're just delirious, they're just angry. I'm not trying to scare you out of being a nurse, but I'm just giving you a little food for thought. And then you got to deal with the doctors who can't bother to have a good penmanship because they're stressed out. And so they write the squiggly line and expect you to know exactly letter for letter what that says. Oh, there's another profession I overlooked. Pharmacists. Don't be a pharmacist. There, I said it. Don't be a pharmacist. The pharmacist is becoming the new low-wage job. Because if you become a pharmacist, your only choice at this point is Walgreens, CVS, and some other local mom and pop drugstore that probably will shut down in 3 to 5 years. I don't know any pharmacist who's ever gone that past that, and those who manage pharmacy stores end up are didn't even do pharmacy before. They just got a business degree and just kind of went from there. Um, yeah, don't be. I would recommend being a pharmacist. If you're going to be a lawyer, if you really want to be a lawyer, really scan the market. As a matter of fact, doesn't matter if you're picking your major right now, check the market. And this is a hard one to do because Google, searching on Google, they like to mislead you into all these fake ads, slideshows, top 10 hot jobs of 2017. They're all bullshit. Don't use Google. Go to forums. Go on Reddit. Go on Reddit or actual forum with people with actual jobs. Don't trust Google. Don't trust Forbes. Don't trust all those stupid blog sites with spyware and ad-riddled bullcrap. They don't know anything. I made that big mistake when I was searching for schools. Do not believe those idiots. Go to YouTube, Reddit, YouTube, forums. If you want to get an idea what the job market is right now, Reddit, YouTube, and forums. Because those people are the ones who actually have that experience. And they will tell you flat out what you want to know. And trust, I'd rather trust a random person on YouTube who had a job in nursing or construction and to have their input than some jackalope on some random blog who probably never done the job but just pulled something from another blog who pulled something from another blog, slap some AdSense on there, and call it day. Because they make up because statistics are made up on the spot. Whenever you see a website that shows statistics about job placement, don't believe them. Don't believe them. Please do not believe them. Gather your information on your own and inform your own opinion and make an educated judgment on what you want to do with your future if you want to go to college. And if you decide that's not working out for you, that's fine. But if you decide you want to go through it, at least you have the information at hand. Also, if you do decide to go to college, let me give you one more piece of advice. There's no shame in going to community college. Now, I don't know, some of you might be young enough. Do you remember a certain Chris Rock show a few years back, probably early 2000s? There was one line on there that I remember. There was actually a stick. Actually, he said basically, do not go. He was actually telling his people, do not go to community college. I don't remember what show it was, but it was one of his stand-ups. And he basically made this big deal about going to community college because community college is, well, basically made a community, or AKA stupid people. And I remember when I was in my early 20s, there was this big, nasty stigma about community college. That, only dumb, cheap people go to community college because they can't afford a real prestigious school. And there was a lot of snobbery behind that. Like, if you couldn't afford to go to, like, Harvard or Yale or some state college, it's like people just kind of side-eyed you. And then even some for-profit colleges were notorious for that. Like, you want a real education? Well, don't bother with community college. I'm sorry, my blood pressure's starting to boil because I fell for this crap. A lot of us fell for this crap. Okay? There is no shame in going to community college. Chris Rock does not know anything. Dude, he's a freaking millionaire. What the hell does he know about higher education? What? Oh, he worked as a comedian? What did he freaking do? So he's going to tell a bunch of people don't go to community college because they're for stupid poor people? Well, you know what? You save money. At the end of the day, when you go to community college, you go to community college to get your prereqs out of the way, and you save money. Period. And most community colleges usually, and guess what? Community college credits transfer to state colleges. For-profit schools, credits do not transfer. Most of them do not transfer. Most of those for-profit schools lie about accreditation. And trust me, I know for this for a fact. They lie about their accreditation. And most students who try to transfer the credits cannot get them transferred. I'm talking Art Institute, Everest College, University of Phoenix. I'm talking about all those schools. Those credits will not transfer. But if you go to community college, not only will you be paying a lot less than these jerk-off colleges, but those credits will transfer to a state college. So if you decide, and plus, if you decide you want to go to this state university or another state university, those credits will transfer regardless. If for some reason a community college credits won't transfer, there is something very, 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 very wrong with your state. But 9 times out of 10, those community college credits will transfer. And this is always a good way to get those annoying, stupid, pointless prereqs out of the way. Because, like I said in the first video, college is business. And college courses, even the big top schools, they want to pad it with all these unnecessary prereqs in activities, your math, your history, your world history, stuff you've probably learned in high school, but for some reason colleges deem fit. Well, we want more money, so we're going to teach the same stuff, but even more detail. I'm not surprised why people are saying the American school system is failing, because they're like, well, let's save all this stuff for the college level. So that way they're only taking maybe a third of the classes relevant to their career at hand, but then the other 2/3 are mostly, well, I wouldn't, maybe not 2/3, maybe a half is probably just prereqs and stuff that you don't really need to take. But if another thing, if you're going to go to college route, make sure you get action, because some colleges, even the community ones, offer on-the-job training. Like they will give you get credit hours for working for somebody. It's sort of like an internship, but you get college credit. See, here's the thing: you don't do the bad way of doing it. Not, I shouldn't say dumb. I apologize. The bad way of doing it is doing an internship after school. What you want to do is do an internship during school. That's first year if you can, first year, second year if you can. Get as many credit hours as you can, because that counts as work experience. Most of the time it does. And you can put on your resume, well, during school I interned at such and such. That'll impress the drones in HR. That's that. And oh, well, this is going on half an hour, and I'm gonna cut it off here. I just had a great idea for part 3. Online schools. And I am an expert in this field because I had to finish my bachelor's online due to a stressful living situation I had to deal with back at home. And it was mostly, stuff I could do on a computer anyway. But there are those who cannot make it to a brick or mortar campus. And this was like a big thing in the late 2000s, was online. Even the more prestigious schools were starting to tout online schools. However, it comes with a very large price. And I'm not talking about not just the tuition, because well, anyway, I'm going to say that will be my part 3. If you've stuck around this long, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know I ramble on like an old man. I am approaching 40, so this will probably be a thing. I gotta try to make some shorter videos. I apologize I didn't have anything out the last couple days. Hopefully, once I get settled in my new place, I can start making more consistent videos so I can get on that YouTube algorithm and have my goofy cartoon thumbnails plastered all over the internet. But until then, leave a like, leave a subscribe, comment, negative, positive, I don't care. Let's engage a discussion. If you have some opinions, please feel free to share. I'd love to hear them. Anyway, this is Glendemonium signing out. Have a good one.